Good morning guys, I hope you're well. In this lesson we're going to be continuing our work from last lesson where we're going to be using algebra to calculate missing angles. First of all, I want you to have a look at these letters on your screen right now. I want you to ask yourself, what could these letters mean? I will give you two clues. The first clue I'm going to tell you is that it's something to do with angles, and the second clue I'm going to give you is that each letter is the first letter of a word. So this represents a sentence. So pause the video, take a moment to think, and I'll be very impressed if you get it. Okay, if you're struggling, I don't blame you, so I'm going to give you a clue that might help you out. Okay, did you manage to get it? If not, no worries, I'm going to show you what it is now. So, what I was looking for was angles on a straight line add up to 180 degrees. So in this diagram, angles A plus angle B plus angle C, they add together to make 180 degrees. And if we remember from a few lessons ago, that's because a whole turn is 360 degrees, so a half turn represents half of that, which is 180 degrees. Okay, next one. So pause the video if you need some time to think. And again, it's to do with angles, and these letters represent the first letters of each word in a sentence. Okay, and I'm going to give you a clue. So the sentence I was looking for was angles around a point add up to 360 degrees. So angles A plus angle B plus angle C, they add together to make 360, because if you remember, 360 represents a full turn. So remember that lesson with the skateboarder and the cats and the 360 no scope on Fortnite. So a full circle represents a full turn. Last one, so VOAAE. What could this represent? So as a clue, have a look at this diagram. Okay, so what I was looking for was vertically opposite angles are equal. So if you have two straight lines intersecting each other, so with angle A and angle B here, these two angles will always be perfectly equal. So I can say A equals B. We're going to be using these facts to form equations and solve angle problems today. So let's do some examples. I'm going to try one, and then you're going to pause the video and try your own. So first of all, I have two angles on a straight line. So do we see these two angles? They make a half turn. So what I can say, I can write this sentence, I can say angles on a straight line sum to 180 degrees. So this angle, so 4x minus 60 plus angle x, they equal 180 degrees. So let's write that as an equation. Okay, do we understand that? So just taking my two angles, so here's my first one, and here's my second one, added them together, and they equal 180 degrees. I know that because of that angle fact that we learned a few lessons ago. Can I write this in a simpler way? Well, yes I can. I have some like terms. Do you see those two like terms on your screen? So my like terms are 4x and a positive x. 4x plus 1x gives me 5x, and that negative 60, remember you don't combine normal numbers with variables, so we'll just leave it as 5x minus 60 equals 180 degrees. Can you predict what I'm going to do next? Do you see how this links to our work on solving equations? So our question is, find what x is. Okay, so I'm looking for x, so I don't want 5x minus 60, I just want x on its own. So let's sort out this negative 60. How can I make this negative 60 go away? What's the opposite to minusing 60? Well, the opposite to minusing 60 is adding 60. So using my balancing method, I'm going to plus 60 to both sides. So that eliminates that negative 60. So I'm just left with 5x on my left hand side, and 180 plus 60 gives me 240. Okay, can you predict what I'm going to do next? So if I know 5x is a 240, to get 1x on its own, I need to divide by 5. So I'm going to do that to both sides. So using my balancing method, so that tells you that 1x is 48 degrees, and I've solved the problem and I can stop there. Okay, at this stage please can you pause the video and see if you can solve this problem. So you have a diagram, I would like you to find what the value of x is. Okay, so to solve this problem, the first thing I need to do is I have to notice that these two angles are vertically opposite. They're opposite angles where two straight lines have intersected. So I'm going to write that as a sentence. I'm going to write vertically opposite angles are equal. So if these two angles are equal, how can I make an equation out of these two angles? If they are equal, what can I put between them? Well, if they're equal, I'm just going to put an equal sign in between them because that means that these two angles must be the same. Now I have an equation to solve. Okay, do we remember it gets a little bit trickier when I have x's on both sides of my equation. When I have x's on both sides of my equation, all I need to do, I need to think of a step that makes it so there are not x's on both sides of the equation. The way I'm going to do that is I'm going to subtract an x from my right hand side and subtract an x from my left hand side. Watch what happens. Okay, so on my right hand side there was an x, but I took it away, so I've actually got nothing there. I've just got 0 on my right hand side. There was 4 x's on my left hand side, but because I took away an x, I'm just left with 3 x's on my left hand side. Okay, so I've got 3x take away 60 equals 0. Where can I go from here? Well, I'm just looking for x on its own, so that negative 60 does not need to be there. How can I get rid of a negative 60? What's the opposite to minusing 60? Well, let's add 60 to both sides and see what happens. Okay, so I've gotten rid of that negative 60 by adding 60 to it, so that just makes 0. So just left with that 3x. I had 0, I added 60, so that gives me 60. Do we see how 3x equals 60? I haven't solved it yet, but this is looking a lot nicer than it did before. So in 2 steps using my balancing method, this equation is looking a lot simpler. So 3x equals 60. How do I get from 3x to just 1x on its own? Well, I'm going to divide both sides by 3. So 60 divided by 3 gives me 20. That means that x has to be 20 degrees, and I have solved the problem. Okay, so what I would like you to do now, please can you find the worksheet that I've attached for you on Google Classroom and work your way through these problems. If you're stuck at all, please just let me know and message me on Google Classroom and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you very much, guys.